DeMarco question. What should you do with DeMarco right now? Do you trade him? Do you write him out? Do you say a prayer?
Yes, and I think you're right. And they just lost a guard. I don't know if we talked about this, but they lost a guard. I can't recall the guy's name right now, but he's gone for the season. So the offensive line gets worse. Even though they were kind of putting it together last week with Ryan Matthews, but this falls in the same thing of I can't sell a guy who is a stud for trash. With this, the entire season is still left in front of us.
Yeah, and I think the odds are in your favor with that philosophy, but there will be those trades that work out for selling.
Yeah, of all of the guys that are stinking, some of them will stink all year, but most of them probably won't.
You sounded like Hunger Games over there. That's what I was doing.
I did? Yeah. I was wondering what you
said. Because the odds are in your. May the odds ever be in your favor?
No, I'm a football guy.
Hunger Games is the business. I'm putting it out there.
All right, you can get us some Hunger Games gear for the studio.
Because I'm playing the Hunger Games
now.
We
can get all your autographed books in here.
No, I'm playing it right now.
Are you a Twilight guy?
With how hungry? No, I'm not a Twilight guy.
All right, Carlos with a K, Carlos with a C. Which is the better flex option this week? Michael in Seattle wants to know.
I love
thought you were going to ask, which is the better way to spell Carlos?
Yeah, that's ultimately what it comes down to. Who are the 49ers playing?
The Packers.
Green Bay, and I'm definitely going Carlos with a C.
Now, I'm going Carlos with a K.
Really?
If Shady's out, that's the presumption of the question.
He said that?
Yes, he said since Shady is out, which we
we
don't know for sure, but
maybe that guy's got a DeLorean and he's telling us something.
Yeah, maybe.
Then you should just check the fantasy box score, you dummy. If you can go into the future.
Yeah. I don't know.
If LaShawn McCoy is out, then I would go Carlos with a K.
I agree.
All right. I have a really good question that's here from Matt in Iowa. This is something you're going to see a lot in your leagues right now, so be aware of it. It's a trade question. He's being offered it. Would you trade Le'Veon Bell for Carlos Hyde, Danny Woodhead, and Brandon Cooks? What kind of trade is that?
Wait, Hyde, Woodhead, and Cooks?
Yeah.
No,
I wouldn't either.
I would make that offer.
Yeah, those are the type of trades that, you can, because you're not giving
That's my
up,
point.
You're not giving up 3 for 1 because you're going to go and sign 2 guys off of waivers. And, if you listen to yesterday's show, there's a lot of good waiver options out there. So when you make the trade and you get rid of 3 guys and bring in an absolute stud like Le'Veon Bell and pair him with 2 good waiver options, you're golden.
Yeah, these are the trades I send out in all my leagues. I try to get the big horse. Give me the big horse. I'd like to ride Le'Veon Bell to a championship. All right, quarterback situation. Kiki in Alameda, California. I currently...
Where?
Alameda.
Alameda.
It is? All right. I haven't been everywhere in the world.
Alameda is how you say that. Alameda. Alameda. All right.
Oh, my goodness. I will proceed. I currently have Tannehill and Bradford. He's looking to pick up Dalton this week. Who would you drop between Tannehill and Bradford?
Oh. In most of these situations, you try to trade somebody, but you probably won't be able to. So I would drop Bradford.
There's a remnant of Bradford love out there, and that remnant is who you target for a trade.
Look, Bradford was very, very Bradford was very close to my stream of the week as well. He was just a fraction over the threshold that we allow for those. Bradford versus Washington, we could see a resurgence. Just throwing it out there into the Twitter
So you're
sphere.
saying you would drop Tannehill if you had to drop one of those guys?
I suppose, man. Tannehill has been very disappointing. And they're letting him throw it a bajillion times.
I will say this. If you're based on, because all 3 of these guys are somewhat streamable, you should look at the matchup and see who's going to have a great week next week that will have value and you could trade. Bradford has a much better matchup than, Tannehill has to go to London and then play the Jets.
You sound like you're from London.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a fun time if I'm Ryan. So drop Ryan.
Sammy Biscuits belongs in London.
They eat a lot of biscuits over there?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they call cookies?
Yeah.
Biscuits, I think.
Welcome to Earth.
At least in the 1900s.
All right. Follow-up question from Bob Axe in Decatur, Illinois. Drop Sammy Biscuits for Tyrod Taylor.
Yes.
What a weird world we live in.
It is a strange world.
What a weird world.
Week 4 is
I don't disagree at all, which is just ridiculous. Do you spend, if you had Big Ben, Tyrod Taylor's out there, how much of your fab do you spend?
I feel like this is a trick question to ask me how much fab I'm going to be spending on Tyrod Taylor.
That's a great question. Mike, how much fab?
I'm going to let Jason answer this.
All right, here's what I do. I don't think that Tyrod Taylor's going to be crazy bid on, so I'm going like $5 or $6. I think you'll get him.
$5 or $6?
$5 or $6.
If you're in that desperate situation, that is ridiculous.
How much?
Well,
how much are you bidding?
Here's why I don't think it's a desperate situation. Andy Dalton,
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, Derek Carr.
I don't think
options.
you'll get Tyrod Taylor for $6.
I think there's plenty of options.
Mike.
And
How much you spending, Andy?
I don't think you're going to get him for $6. So you spent all that money on Stark, so you're not going to be able to outbid me at $91.
I would be aggressive trying to get Taylor on my
so
team.
what are you saying?
How aggressive? Exactly. If you had to put it in a monetary value.
Fab is so related to your league.
So in our league,
let's
for
say in our
example,
league.
In our league, I would not spend more than $12.
Okay, there you have it.
13 coming in. All right. Is Arian Foster worth trading Randall Cobb and Danny Woodhead for? This is from Jacob in Jacob in Ghana, Africa.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bonjour.
Ain't no joke.
Very nice. I would say no. I think Randall Cobb, especially with the injuries around him, he's not going to be a 3 touchdown a week guy, but he is an absolute
Also known as a 47 touchdown a year guy.
yeah, he is an absolute wide receiver 1. You know what you have
48,
in him.
48.
And you also have Danny Woodhead, who's a serviceable player. You trade that for Arian Foster, who could be a fantastic guy, but who is also injured and has question marks. I don't do it.
I would absolutely do it if I needed a running back, and I would not do it if I needed a wide receiver. So
Correct.
Dion Lewis for Mike Evans. Nick in Toronto wants to know.
I thought Dion Lewis was writing the show.
Dion Lewis
No.
from Mike Evans.
Dion Lewis pinned a letter via Mike Evans.
All right. So
Okay.
what's the take? You go. Who do you want? Who do you trade? I mean, obviously
I would trade Dion Lewis for Mike Evans.
To get Mike Evans?
Yeah.
It's obviously dependent upon whether you need running backs or wide receivers. Whenever you have,
I
running back
assume
or
this
wide
person
receiver.
needs a wide receiver. I'm okay with the deal. Because I'm saying
Good.
I don't love it because I'm starting to really buy into Dion Lewis. I feel like Bill Belichick is setting me up for complete failure.
I don't know.
Also, I'm hesitant to start Mike Evans or Vincent Jackson right now because I feel like what we're seeing out of Tampa Bay is enough production to have one of them be good and one of them be a stinker, and we're not going to be able to know who it is week in, week out. And that's just something I don't like. I don't like stinkers. Stinkers are no
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome.
All right. Running back flex start question. Would you go with Ivory, Abdullah, Matt Jones, Moncrief, or Cooks?
Oh, my goodness. What?
Sorry.
Ivory?
Moncrief.
As a flex over Ivory.
100%. Here's why.
Waterbed.
Let's do it.
There's no way. You can't say
Moncrief versus-
absolutely like that without
I
that
am-
counting.
I said let's do it.
I know.
I'm in.
Moncrief,
so,
Ivory.
Moncrief versus Ivory for this week. And let me explain why you're going to get wet. Because Ivory, who has been a little bit hampered, and granted they took him out
Yeah,
a
he
week.
actually didn't play, yeah.
Yeah, and so is that
He
so
was
that's
active.
a good thing for
he
you,
was
though, right?
active, guys.
Yeah, but he's
He
again
ran out of that tunnel, and he looked
traveling.
good.
He's again traveling to London, which I don't love those games. But forget that. The reason I love Moncrief is because he's going up against that destroyed Jacksonville secondary, and I think you're going to see Moncrief all over the place. I love Moncrief.
Who had the most wide receiver snaps for the Indianapolis Colts last week?
I guess it's Moncrief,
His
since you
name-
guys sit on the same side of the table.
His name is Donte Moncrief.
Classic. You two are two
You need to get on
peas
the
in a
Moncrief
stupid
train.
wet pod.
The Moncrief.
I
train
got
is
no problem with
moving.
Moncrief. I'm not flexing him over Chris Ivory next week. And that's what we got a water bet. Now we'll know.
Well,
So-
we got to at least have a tiebreaker here, not in the water bet, but for our listener, for our wonderful Foot Clan member. Who you playing in that flex, Mike?
Moncrief.
Oh, there you go.
Love
Do you
him.
want?
Don't do it to yourself, man.
I don't know if I want to take the risk.
I was going to assert myself in, but then I figured you would be a coward.
Oh, so you want in?
Yeah.
Water Bet.
Just so you're aware, Jason, that's how you like more formally add yourself to a bet as opposed to throw yourself into one.
You know
and
what?
then never be able to prove it.
Listeners,
speaking.
remember the Percy Harvin bet. Andy was saying that I was not in on that with Mike, that it was between him and Mike.
We had
went
to do
back
a
to try to
stupid
find it. We
paper,
couldn't
rock,
find
scissors.
it. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to bring up.
The paper, rock, scissors?
Paper, rock, scissors, 2 out of 3. It only took 2 times, and I whooped you.
It only
Move it along.
took
Next
2
question.
times. You hold
It's
on.
called a sweep. Okay?
You hold on to those victories.
A Rochambeau sweep, and it happened to you.
All
you
right.
lived it.
No, that's it for the show today. Thanks for listening. We've got a good Week 4 preview show coming up on tomorrow on Thursday, and we'll be previewing all the games. We'll give you our starts of the week. No, I'm not playing you paper, rock, scissors.
I know
right
you're
now.
not. You're afraid.
Oh, Jason wins.
Yes.
Rock versus scissors.
Everybody knows
You
best
can
of
see
3.
that on YouTube.
Dang it, man. I hate that game. All right. If you have a question, go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Submit that question. Be sure to join into our fantasy football community. We've got a bunch of great listeners. This show is all about you.
Join the
Foot
Foot
Clan.
Yeah, we actually have an exclusive mailbag show that goes up on Patreon tomorrow as well. So
And
send it to
True.
the
And then if hopefully those that tuned in enjoyed the live stream yesterday.
And 10 supporters just got some sweet new posters.
Yeah, the Amir Abdullah Express.
Abdullah Express.
Ever since those came off the printer, he's ran for about 12 yards.
well,
burn them.
He
all.
scored a touchdown.
So, yeah, that's true. Through the air, just as I predicted. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week at the FF Ballers on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube,
Everywhere.
on the internet.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.